Hi everyone, welcome back to Live Darts TV, where we're delighted to be joined by the CEO of the new UK Darts Association, Colin Savage. Colin, thanks very much for joining us. It's been a hugely significant period in grassroots darts, given the news that the remaining counties have now joined the UKDA setup. So, first of all, just give us a bit of background to what the UKDA is, how it came about, and what its aims are.
Yeah, well, first of all, Jimmy, thanks for having me on Live Darts. It's a pleasure. The original concept sort of started late January after what had happened with the World Championships and the uncertainty around the future of the BDO. A guy I know well, Morgan Barrell, came to us, and Johnny Stefano and myself, and we worked with a few others on the proposal for a couple of months. We were kind of working on it in the background, away from the public eye, because these things do take a lot of preparation before you can put it out there. And so we were kind of waiting and getting everything in place. And then, obviously, the Tri-Nations people knew about. Then the BDO declared a deadline for counties, so we had to go with our initial proposal. We knew it wasn't the finished product, but we had to get it out there to get into the public domain. We then set our target of the 18th of June for release, and we met that target. You know, we had to set these targets to specifically work as a group, you know, to meet it. And you know, the team has been absolutely fantastic. I say the response from, you know, the counties, the teams, and the public has been superb.
So the BDO have run the county system for the last, nearly 50 years. So it's obviously it's all the players have ever known. This is a big change. You mentioned in your statement that it was actually quite an emotional time for you, and there'd been a few tears shed. Just give us an idea what the last few months have been like on a personal level.
On a personal level, you know, when you're, you know, the team and myself, you know, we all work full time. You know, it has been pressurised at times. You know, there's certainly been a lot of conversations have happened with teams and counties. You know, and there is you can't say it's not a sad day. You know, it wasn't a sad day for the game of darts. You know, there's a hell of a lot of history there. I'm not going to get into what has happened recently. It's not my job to. But, you know, we all have dedicated time into the BDO system. We all have spent money travelling to tournaments. We have played county. You know, the main thing is that history will always be there. But as with everything in life, sometimes there needs to be something happen to move something forward. And I believe that's what we're about.
When the remaining counties had decided to join the UKDA, did that come as a surprise to you, or was that something you were expecting?
I'll be honest, from the start, we thought, you know, we had a figure in around 30. We thought if we could get 30 over in the first year, we'd be doing really well. You know, we are new. You know, people have said we're untried, we're this, we're that. We haven't done too badly for a group of volunteers the last few months. You know, we're all aware the hard work starts now, but I had inklings. You know, it's like everything. As each team moved and more declared for UKDA, there was always going to be a tipping point, and we had kind of reached the tipping point on the Friday. Then a few big announcements over the weekend, and then obviously I was notified by the chairman of the BDO that all the rest of the counties were moving on the Monday morning.
Do you think the realisation came then that that's the only way forward, and that all counties should be under the same umbrella and working towards the same vision?
I think that's what kicked in at the end. But, you know, we'd always said we didn't want to split the system. We wanted everybody to move. You know, it doesn't matter if it's the Isle of Wight or Yorkshire or Bedfordshire, whoever. Each county is as important as the next. You know, they all play in the same system, play in the same money. You know, trust me, it's a relief that everybody moved. To say Johnny and myself had a few sleepless nights, you know, questioning whether we were doing the right thing. And, you know, in the end, it has proved that we are.
It's been a very public and quite sad decline of the BDO. So what does the UKDA plan to do differently to ensure the future of the county organisation and grassroots darts?
Well, I think you can see from the start, you know, social media, when used right, can be a very, very positive and informative thing. You know, we have been right in public. You know, we've got the support behind us. There is a wave of positivity at the minute. And, that will only carry us so far, but we'll deliver everything in our proposal. You're talking about, you know, expanded leagues, you're talking bigger prize money. It's getting that, the county system in Britain's unique. And it offers such a conveyor belt, a competitive environment for players to further themselves, whether that's at WDF level, PDC, wherever. That had to be protected, but it also needs a little modernisation and dragged with the times. I had a chat with a certain player who's been out for over 30 years, and he said to me, he goes, something that does need change. The only thing that has changed in 30 years is better dartboards, fancier shorts, and better lights. So we have plans up our sleeve to bring a few new sort of tournaments in, like an end of season county weekend, where all the counties will come together and we'll have a knockout cup. We're in plans for that at the minute. It's just modernising the system a little bit, creating working relationships with other organisations to get the best that we can for our players. Hopefully now that the politics has been removed from the game, we can do that.
So the leagues have been rebranded, and I understand that you're going to be working with Dart Connect as well. Is that a huge part of bringing it into the 21st century?
It will be. Obviously, Roger with Darts for Windows, does a great job with the databases and that will continue in the terms of the team event and the National League system. For tournaments, etc., we'll be bringing Dart Connect in. It's a superb system. There'll be nobody have any excuse not to mark a board anymore.
And you mentioned social media before. How big is communication in gaining people's trust in the UKDA?
It's huge because, as I say, although some of us are known, we're all new in our roles, and we're starting from the bottom. It'll take a while for some to trust us. Some have trusted us straight away. Some maybe have, through no fault of their own. They were used to a certain system, and they believed in that. All we can do is act as professionally honest and be open about things. And at times we will make mistakes, but if you make a mistake, put your hand up and say you have, and explain that you have, and say it won't happen again.
We're now just over a week on since the announcement. Are you surprised that there's been no official communication come out of the BDO about this?
I actually am a bit, because I did see a few BDO directors actually post on Facebook that there would be an announcement. I think it was last Tuesday, and nothing has happened so far. It's not really my job to tell them that they should, but I certainly think, with everything that has went on, I think I would have made a statement wishing all the members good luck and, their future endeavours at the very least. I think there needs to be a bit of explaining done on the whole situation regarding the money. And really and truly, there's things in that organisation that's owned by those who were part of it. And there will be debates, so you're not members of this, you're not members of that, or you've joined there or that. But it was those teams invested all that money in to certain things, and I do think negotiations and discussions need to happen as we go forward.
So going by what you've said there, I would assume that yourself and your team didn't have much correspondence from Des Jacqueline and the BDO throughout the whole process?
No, very little, if none at all. I'd say I have spoke to Des in the last week or so a few times, and I will say I've actually found him really pleasant to deal with. It certainly wasn't an easy conversation he had with me, and I respect for what he's tried to do in the BDO. Unfortunately, it hasn't worked, and again, it's not my job to comment on why it didn't work. None of it, we're only looking in from the outside. None of us really know what has happened, and but all I can say that in my own dealings with them, there was no problems at all.
There's been a fair bit of division, and obviously people have got split loyalties. But once this all gets going, are you confident that everyone's going to get behind it and be singing off the same hymn sheet?
I think we have to make them. The whole thing about we had a clear proposal and a clear plan, and that's what people voted on. It is up to us to deliver. And, and it's going to need leadership from the top. In terms of Johnny, myself, the team. It's a challenge ahead, but it's certainly an exciting challenge for us all.
So we've spoken about the county system, but what about singles events? So what's the plan for those?
Well, obviously we have our UKDA national singles, the ladies and the men's, the pairs event, and the Super League team event. You know, there's a certain phase you walk before you run. So, our main focus is get all that done right. And then we will look over the next sort of 18 to 24 months at what else we can do to bring in, and it's one of the reasons why we've linked up with MAD as well. Steve and myself have had a few meetings, and he's been of great help to myself personally. And we see definite synergy there together going forward.
And is the plan as part of the future to potentially stream these events to take them to a wider audience?
Our events, in terms of the singles, the men's and ladies singles, are probably the last 8 of each event, and the pairs final, etc., will all be streamed.
You mentioned obviously Steve Brown there, who runs the JDC and is just formed MAD. What's he said to you, and what's the plan to work together and make sure everyone's on the same page?
Firstly, what a character. The two of us get on very well. No, Steve sort of looks at things as myself. We both see a way forward for the amateur game. Steve's passion for darts, the man never stops. I don't know how he's a professional with the work he puts in. There is, as I say, there's great chance for synergy between the UKDA, MAD, the national organisations, certainly creating pathways through to the WDF. Hopefully we'll have talks at some stage with the big boys, and and they can offer us advice and guidance on, maybe give us advice on things we don't see. They're the industry experts, and it's now a chance for everybody to really come together and align darts.
Are you confident that the prize funds are going to be healthy? I mean, do you see yourself as a natural replacement for the BDO?
At national league level, yes. In terms of the majors and that, the WDF are carrying on that mantle now. I've seen today they've announced ranking systems and that, so they've obviously plans in place for the bigger picture. Obviously, from talking to Steve, Steve has, I think, 4 Premier MAD events organised. One of them is actually an amateur world championship. I think it's an exciting time ahead for those who aren't lucky enough to have a tour card. I think there is going to be, positive pathways for them to get a better reward for what they put into the system.
You mentioned the WDF there. Are they behind this? Has there been conversations there?
They're not behind us as such. We have had a few conversations with them in terms of guidance on a few things. Obviously, one of the biggest things that you need to speak with them and the nations is to avoid clashes of dates. There's only so many weekends in the year. But again, the guys at the WDF, they're very positive people. And, if you ask for help in the right way, they're there to speak to you.
Obviously, the COVID situation is dictating everything at the moment. Do you have any sort of time frame and an idea of when you can get up and running?
We have different scenarios. I would love to say we could go in February, March, and realign the calendar a bit. Maybe this is the opportunity to have it, or instead of the September to sort of April calendar, with COVID now, and especially tying in with the likes of WDF and England rankings and that, which would run from January to December. It's certainly something we can look at, but again, we would need to speak to our members to get a bit of feedback on it. We're not a dictatorship, so we will discuss these things with them.
And just finally, then, where do you see the UKDA in 5 years' time? What's the ultimate long-term ambition?
We've had these discussions as a group, amongst the management team and directors. You sort of have to look at it and say, the National League will take care of itself. Numbers are healthy. Super League added in, you know, there's potentially over 10,000 members there. We have to look at the youth. You know, Steve and that do fantastic jobs with the JDC. We have to see, can we help the county youth system? We have to see, can we get more ladies playing at a higher level? And certainly one other thing we're definitely going to look at, there's definitely a lack of players from, you know, ethnic minority backgrounds. We're going to look at ways and see, can we, you know, bring them in a bit more. And also we're looking into link ups with disability darts, their various federations. So it is basically trying at the amateur level to bring in everybody and get dart, as I say, darts for all. You know, would we like to run a couple of bigger events in 3 or 4 years' time when we're established? Of course we would. We want to give our players as much possible opportunities as we can. So, as I say, it's exciting times ahead.
Yeah, well, the future certainly sounds bright for amateur darts. It sounds like you've got a great team behind you and a great vision. So, Colin, thanks very much for joining us, and I wish you all the best with it for the future, and we look forward to following the progress in the coming years.
Not a problem, sir. Thanks for having me on. Fantastic. Thank you.